All right, let's do this. You've got a Python exam breathing down your neck, and you need a retap, fast. Well, don't panic. We're about to blast through a full semester's worth of material in the next few minutes, so buckle up.
You know that feeling, wishing you could just plug into the matrix and download an entire course right into your brain before a test? Well, we can't quite do that, but this is honestly the next best thing. Think of this as a high-speed download of the most critical Python concepts you absolutely have to know.
Okay, no more waiting. Let's get straight to it. There's no fluff, no filler, just the core concepts that are pretty much guaranteed to show up on your exam. We're going to start with the absolute fundamentals.
First up, the core building blocks. Every single Python program out there, no matter how huge or complicated, is built from these essential components. Get these down, and you've got the foundation for everything else.
So what's a variable? It's just a labeled box for your data. Simple as that. Now, the key thing to remember for Python, and this is a big one, is that it's dynamically typed. You don't have to tell Python what type of data you're storing. You just write x equals 10, and Python figures out, hey, that's an integer. It's what makes Python so fast to write.
This right here is a concept you have to understand for any exam: mutability. Mutable things, like lists, can be changed after you create them. Immutable things, like strings or tuples, are set in stone. Now, why does this matter? Well, if you try to change something immutable, Python has to create a whole new object in memory. This is a classic source of bugs, and you guessed it, a favorite topic for tricky exam questions.
Okay, a program that just runs straight from top to bottom isn't all that smart, is it? So now let's look at how we can give our code a brain. We're talking about the tools that let it make decisions and repeat actions. Your main decision-making tool is the if, elif, else ladder. It's super logical. Python checks the if first. If it's true, it runs that code and jumps out. If not, it moves to the elif. And if nothing matches, the else block at the bottom acts as a catch-all. Simple, but incredibly powerful.
All right, what if you need to do something over and over again? For every single item in a list, for example. That's where the for loop comes in. It's your go-to for iteration, and you'll almost always see it paired up with the range function to repeat something a specific number of times.
Now, inside a loop, you've got two special commands. Think of break as the emergency exit. It just kills the loop instantly and moves on. Then you have continue, which is like hitting the skip button on a song. It just skips the current round and jumps to the next one. Knowing the difference is crucial.
So we have variables, but what if you need to store, a whole bunch of them together? That's where collections come in. Honestly, this is one of the most important topics, so let's make sure we nail it down.
Okay, this table? This is basically your exam cheat sheet for data collections. Pay close attention to mutability and duplicates. Use a list when you need an ordered collection that you can change. Use a tuple for ordered data that should never change. Got it? For storing only unique items where order doesn't matter, you want a set. And for those key value pairs, like a real dictionary, you use a dictionary.
So the bottom line is this. It's all about choosing the right tool for the job. If your data is going to be changing a lot, you probably need a list. But if you have data that needs to stay constant, like, say, GPS coordinates, a tuple is way safer, and it's even a bit faster. Lists are the real workhorse of Python, so you have to know these methods. To add stuff, you've got append for one item and extend for a bunch of items. To get rid of things, remove looks for the item by its value, while pop grabs it by its position, its index. And of course, sort just sorts the list right where it is. Remember that difference between removing by value versus by index. That's a classic exam trip-up.
All right, let's level up. We're graduating from simple scripts to properly organized programs. This is all about writing clean code you can reuse later, following that golden rule. Don't repeat yourself.
So a function is basically just a chunk of code that you give a name to. Instead of writing the same lines over and over again, you just call the function's name. It's the absolute core of keeping your code clean, and you always define them using the def keyword.
You've basically got two flavors of functions. The standard def function is for your big, reusable pieces of logic, but then you have the Lambda function. Think of it as a small, one-line throwaway function. It's perfect for when you need to do something really simple, really quick, and you don't want to bother naming a whole function for it.
Okay, let's quickly touch on object-oriented programming. Don't let the name scare you. A class is just a blueprint. Seriously, think of it as the architectural plan for a house. It defines what a house should have, like doors and windows, but it isn't an actual house itself. It's just the plan. And if the class is the blueprint, then an object is the actual house built from that blueprint. You can create tons of objects or instances from a single class, just like you can build a whole neighborhood of houses from one plan. This is where your program's data actually comes to life.
And for our final section, let's talk about how your program interacts with the outside world, like files, and maybe more importantly, what to do when things inevitably go wrong.
The old-school way to handle files is a three-step dance. You open it, you read or write to it, and then you close it. Forgetting to close the file is a super common mistake. But here's a pro tip for your exam. Mention the with statement. If you use with open, Python automatically closes the file for you, even if there's an error. It's the modern, much safer way to do things.
So what happens when your code tries to do something impossible, like divide by 0, or open a file that doesn't exist? It crashes, right? Well, not if you use a try-except block. This thing is your program's safety net. You put the risky code in the try block, and you catch the error in the except block. It stops your program from completely falling apart.
All right, pop quiz time. True or false, the break statement exits the entire program. What do you think? The answer is false. It only breaks out of the loop it's currently inside, not the whole program.
Okay, second question. Which keyword do you use to define a function? Is it function, fun, or def? This one should be a gimme. It's def, of course.
And that's a wrap. That was our high-speed revision. From variables all the way to handling errors, you've just recapped the absolute core of Python. You've got the tools, you've reviewed the concepts, now go ace that exam, and then start thinking, what's the first cool problem you're going to solve? Good luck!